areas to display their skills and maintain their reputations. Trading competitions rewarded the most successful merchants and encouraged innovation in commercial practices. The artistic performances that enriched these celebrations were unique expressions of maritime culture that couldn't be found anywhere else. Songs told stories of legendary voyages and heroic deeds, while dances mimicked the movements of ships in heavy seas. These performances weren't just entertainment, they were cultural education that transmitted important values and traditions. The storytelling traditions that flourished during these gatherings preserved the history and mythology of maritime communities in ways that written records never could. Master storytellers were respected figures who commanded large audiences and wielded considerable influence through their ability to shape how events were remembered and interpreted. The technological exchanges that occurred during these seasonal gatherings accelerated innovation throughout the maritime world. Shipbuilders, navigators, weapons makers, and other specialists shared their latest developments with colleagues from other communities, creating a collaborative environment that promoted rapid advancement. The diplomatic activities that took place during these gatherings were crucial for maintaining peaceful relationships between different maritime communities. Disputes were resolved, alliances were negotiated, and agreements were reached that governed interactions throughout the following year. These weren't informal discussions, they were serious diplomatic conferences that shaped the political landscape of the maritime world. The economic transactions that occurred during these seasonal gatherings created markets that were larger and more sophisticated than anything available in land-based ports. Rare goods from across the region changed hands, new trading relationships were established, and investment opportunities were evaluated and funded. The information exchanges that took place during these gatherings created intelligence networks that spanned the entire South China Sea region. News about political developments, weather patterns, market conditions, and security threats was shared freely among trusted community members, creating collective knowledge that benefited everyone. The marriage negotiations that occurred during these gatherings were complex diplomatic processes that could affect relationships between entire communities. Families used these opportunities to evaluate potential matches, negotiate terms, and arrange unions that would strengthen alliances and create new opportunities for cooperation. The religious ceremonies that marked these seasonal gatherings reflected the unique spiritual beliefs of maritime communities. Traditional Chinese religious observances were combined with maritime-specific rituals that honored sea gods, blessed vessels and crews, and sought protection for the dangerous voyages ahead. The educational activities that took place during these gatherings allowed young people to learn from masters and specialists who might visit their home communities only once per year. These intensive learning periods were crucial for maintaining the high levels of skill and knowledge that maritime life demanded. The recruitment activities that occurred during these gatherings allowed successful communities to attract new members while giving individuals opportunities to find positions that match their skills and ambitions. These weren't casual arrangements, they were formal employment negotiations that could determine someone's future prospects. The retirement ceremonies that marked the end of active careers were important transitions that affected entire communities. Experienced leaders, skilled specialists, and respected elders formally transferred their responsibilities to younger successors, ensuring continuity while allowing older members to enjoy well-earned rest. The legacy planning that took place during these gatherings ensured that the knowledge, resources, and relationships that individuals had accumulated during their careers were properly distributed to benefit future generations. These weren't just personal decisions, they were community investments in long-term prosperity and stability. The transformation of these remarkable floating civilizations didn't happen overnight, and it wasn't uniform across all communities. Some groups successfully adapted to changing conditions and maintained their maritime way of life well into the modern era. Others gradually transitioned to land-based occupations, while still others simply disappeared as their members scattered to pursue individual opportunities. The children and grandchildren of maritime families face difficult choices about whether to maintain traditional ways or embrace the opportunities offered by modernization. Some remained loyal to their oceanic heritage, while others eagerly adopted new technologies and lifestyles that promised greater security and prosperity. The cultural memories of these maritime communities have been preserved in various forms throughout the coastal regions of southern China and Southeast Asia. Folk songs, traditional crafts, architectural styles, and social customs all bear traces of their maritime origins, even though most people no longer understand the connections. The business practices that were developed in maritime communities continue to influence Asian commerce in ways that extend far beyond the shipping industry. The emphasis on personal relationships, flexible arrangements, and long-term thinking that characterized maritime trading has become a hallmark of modern Asian business culture. The organizational methods that were pioneered by maritime communities have been studied and adopted by contemporary businesses and institutions around the world. The ability to coordinate complex activities across vast distances using informal networks and personal relationships remains relevant in our interconnected global economy. The environmental wisdom that was accumulated by maritime communities offers valuable lessons for contemporary efforts to manage marine resources sustainably. Their understanding of natural cycles, ecosystem relationships, and conservation practices provides models that are still applicable today. The social innovations that were developed by maritime communities have influenced modern approaches to community organization, conflict resolution, and cooperative management. Their success in creating stable, prosperous societies under challenging conditions demonstrates the potential for alternative forms of social organization. The technological achievements of maritime communities contributed to the development of navigation, shipbuilding, and maritime commerce in ways that are still apparent today. Many of the techniques and innovations that they pioneered have been incorporated into modern maritime technology and practice. The diplomatic traditions that were established by maritime communities have influenced the development of international law and commercial arbitration procedures. Their success in managing relationships between diverse groups with competing interests offers lessons that remain relevant for contemporary international relations. The educational methods that were used by maritime communities to transmit complex knowledge and skills across generations have been recognized as effective by modern educators. Their emphasis on practical learning, mentorship, and real-world application provides models for contemporary educational reform. The artistic and cultural contributions of maritime communities have enriched the heritage of the entire region in ways that continue to be appreciated today. Their songs, stories, visual arts, and performance traditions remain vibrant parts of contemporary cultural expression. The linguistic innovations that emerged from maritime communities have influenced the development of regional languages and communication systems. Their creation of specialized vocabularies and communication methods has contributed to human knowledge about language development and cultural transmission. The legacy of these remarkable floating civilizations reminds us that human creativity and adaptability are virtually limitless when people are free to innovate and experiment with new forms of social organization. The maritime communities of the South China Sea created solutions to complex problems that established institutions couldn't solve, and their achievements deserve recognition alongside more conventional historical accomplishments. The story of Qing Shi and the civilization that produced her challenges are assumptions about what is possible when individuals are given opportunities to develop their full potential regardless of their background or circumstances. Her transformation from humble origins to commanding respect from emperors demonstrates that exceptional leadership can emerge from anywhere when conditions allow it to flourish. The peaceful resolution of the conflicts between pirates and the imperial government shows that even the most serious disputes can sometimes be resolved through negotiation and compromise when both sides recognize each other's legitimate interests and practical capabilities. This example remains relevant for contemporary efforts to resolve conflicts through diplomacy rather than force. The successful integration of former pirates into legitimate society demonstrates that people can change and adapt when given appropriate incentives and support.